Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar highlighting what's new at SolarEdge. Just a few quick items before we get started today. During the webinar, all attendees will be muted for best audio quality. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen to type in your questions. These will be monitored. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce today's presenters, Michelle Spina and Dan Hoyle. Michelle is the Director of Residential Product Marketing at SolarEdge, bringing over 13 years of sales, training, and marketing experience in the solar industry. She leads the development of marketing strategies and customer facing tools that drive awareness, education, and adoption of SolarEdge's residential solutions. Dan is the Canadian Regional Sales Manager for SolarEdge, and he has over 15 years' experience in the solar industry across various fields, including manufacturing, distribution, and project management. And with that said, I'll pass it over to Michelle to get us started. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks so much, Tatum. What a great intro. I just wanted to mention too, if anybody has any questions, I'm going to double down on it. Please put it in the Q&A. Our main focus is to go over those questions. Like Tatum said, I'm going over what's new with SolarEdge. I always like to bring that to the Charge Solar team. We've had some adjustments, as we have had to seek domestic content and such. So I want to make sure that this team is aware of all of the adjustments that have been made and all of the great highlights that we have coming up. So for me, we're going to really talk about single SKU, the advantages of that on the residential side. Would love to hear your feedback too from the field on what you're hearing from customers. As we go along with that, I also want to go through some CNI products and just rehash some of the values of single SKU, of CNI on our side, as we are number one on the CNI product side for manufactured inverters. And then I do want to give a bit of a sneak peek on Nexis. You can see her right behind me. So we're very excited about that product. You can expect that in Q3, but want to give a bit of a sneak peek on what our new residential product looks like. All right, let's jump in. So we're really excited about single SKU because I think this team knows SolarEdge has never been known for less SKUs. It's actually kind of a bit of a running joke that SolarEdge has too many SKUs. So this has been kind of our New Year's resolution for a couple of years, and luckily this has come to fruition now on the residential and the commercial side. But let's talk about the Home Hub inverter. So the new Home Hub inverters that this team will see in your warehouses is all single SKU. It's actually an 11.4 kW inverter, but can be changed based on the nameplate rating that's needed on site to really any of our SKUs that are available. You'll notice here on this list some SKUs that you may have not seen for a while, our legacy SKUs. So a 3, a 5, a 6. Those are things we haven't seen for a while, but they are available in single SKU, and those labels are actually in the box also. So if you do have customers who are asking for those kind of legacy numbers, those are available now with single SKU and can be locked in place in that commissioning step when they're selecting the nameplate rating. So this Home Hub is the same Home Hub you have known for a while. It's the same product certifications that we have on this product. It's Wi-Fi enabled. You can get a cell kit purchased separately. It has that production and consumption meter inside of it. You can still attach 3 batteries per inverter. Probably the biggest question we're getting from installers and distributors is this a completely different product? Do I have to worry about, my projects that are already in the pipeline? Do I have to worry about change orders or any type of recertification or re-permitting? And the answer is no. I mean, this is the same product. It's just that it's going to start out as an 11.4 and it's going to be locked at commissioning. So what does that mean? They will have a label on the inverter that looks like this. it's kind of going to be broken down into two parts. So the top label section is unique per model. This is where they're going to put that new label on top. Okay, so this is the one they're going to have to change. This one is unique per serial number. So this is going to be that specific inverter's label. So this needs to stay the same on the inverter. This is the only one that they're changing, is locking in that nameplate rating. So what does that mean? It means that they're going to have an envelope with labels in it for every single inverter. We are having some challenges with installers actually throwing this envelope away completely before they actually install the product. So our mantra is kind of save the stickers, save the stickers. Like that's really what we want to relay to these installers. We would love your help in that, relaying that message. And in fact, and I'll just go back here, because this is the label that they're going to be putting on, this is not unique per inverter. It's unique per model. So in fact, they get this envelope that has all of these stickers in it. And on the site, they only need one of those stickers, right? So the best practice here is to actually keep the rest of those stickers in their truck, at the office, a stash of extra stickers, right? So they should be keeping these stickers as they can use them across other sites. As I mentioned, we do have all of these models and stickers that are associated with them in the envelope, as well as our legacy models. Primarily the reason why we have the legacy models in there is because we need those for RMAs. But we actually obviously can have the flexibility of installers installing new product with those models as well, since they have that sticker. We are now shipping the single SKU inverter for all RMA replacements, including the Home Wave and A series, as well as, of course, all of our existing home hubs that are in the field. So you can expect the single SKU inverter to be widespread and what you're going to primarily be seeing in the field. I'm going to pause and see if there's any questions here. It looks like we're good so far. Another really important piece to this is SolarEdge Go. So if you have installers that are saying, hey, I can't commission this inverter, it's not letting me do it through SetApp. I don't know why this is automatically going, but the reason why they can't commission it through SetApp is because SetApp is retired. So make sure that your installers are commissioning this through SolarEdge Go. This is that flow. So they actually can either create a site or find a site after they scan that QR code on the equipment. It will connect to that inverter. And this is kind of like the same commissioning flow that we've had in the past. It's a little bit enhanced with the SolarEdge Go functionality, but this is really where the difference is. So they're going to connect to Wi-Fi. And then this is where they select that power model. Okay. Those installers are then going to get a pop-up that says, hey, you selected this inverter model. Are you sure? Okay. So they do get a trigger to confirm that they have selected the proper model. I do want to note one thing with the RMA side of things. There's even one more step that an installer has to do as a fail-safe in the commissioning of an RMA unit now. So what it's actually going to ask is scan the old unit and then scan the new unit. And those actual nameplate ratings are going to have to match in order for that installer to proceed with the commissioning. So that's another fail-safe to ensure that they are doing the correct nameplate rating. So this is going to allow them to confirm the model. And then after that, we are all finished. We have some AHJs that are requiring a commissioning report. So essentially what this is for is to ensure that even though the part number is an 11.4, that the inverter model is in fact being downgraded to a 7.6 or what have you. And so some of the utilities and AHJs are going to require this. This is something that they can request directly into SolarEdge Go and will send directly to their email as well as an email address that they put in that requires it. So they can put multiple email addresses in. So if they do need that commissioning report as a confirmation for their AHJ, they'll have that available. All right, it looks like we have a question here. Do we need to reference the 11.4 kW inverter with a when reducing to a 9.6? Dan, can you take a look at that question in there? Maybe you have a different opinion on the BC Hydro self gen.
Hey, Michelle. My interpretation is no. The 11.4, as Michelle mentioned, references a part number, which is a single stocking unit. It's for inventory management, whereas the model or power class rating is associated with the product certification. So what the utility should care about in any interconnection plan is what the nameplate rating is that you're applying and installing at site. And in this case, it would be a 9.6.
Yeah, good point. If you think about it, as soon as you are locking in that nameplate rating, that's actually locked. So you can assume that and consider that inverter now a 9.6, even though it has the body of an 11.4. So to the AHJ and utility, it's now a 9.6. And you have to sometimes do this commissioning report to prove that. All right, so just the main points on single SKU. This is what we want to tell our installers is first, adhere that proper nameplate sticker that's provided in the box. Make sure that you have the correct nameplate associated with that inverter. Install the home hub just like you normally would, and then commission the inverter through SolarEdge Go. Remember, setup is now retired. If they're trying to get into setup, by the way, they will get a pop-up notification that says, hey, you're supposed to be in SolarEdge Go. Here's how to get there. So it's not that they're completely stuck if they get to setup. They do get a pop-up notification to direct them in the right space. So for me, the takeaways for this group, the inverter part number has changed. So this team is all aware of that. This is the part number that you know. The inverter now must be set at the inverter power model at time of commissioning for single SKU. The label has changed. So just really quick as a quiz in the Q&A box, who can tell me, is it the top or the bottom that is changed on single SKU? Does the installer put the top label on or the bottom label on? Oh, come on, guys, you know it. All right, I'll give it to you. The top. Okay, the top of the label is changed. So the installer is now responsible for applying the top of that label sticker. SolarEdge Go is the new application. And then I do have a question for you. Do you need some air freshener? So the reason why I say this is in order to ensure that installers have actually remembered to save the stickers and save the envelope, it has actually been effective that we've developed these air fresheners to put on their trucks to remind them to save the stickers. So I'm going to send you guys a box of these air fresheners that you can have to give out to your customers or have them at your will call desk or what have you, or maybe you just want one on your car. I promise they're new car scent. They're not something like pina colada or something like that. So I'll send you some of those as a reminder to save the stickers. All right, so here's a good question. So can the inverter go through a process to unlock and upgrade the output of the inverter in the future once the output has been approved by the utility? So the only people that can unlock the inverter is our team. So your team would have to call in and get that inverter unlocked. Currently, right now, once that inverter is locked into place, you should be leaving that locked. That said, the capability is there. So we are definitely trying to determine if we want to make that available and possible. The installer would then have to or should be getting re-permitting and such for that site. And of course, wiring it properly to the proper breaker size and backfeed size for that solar system. But the technical capability is there. To piggyback on your question and look at it another way, if you have installers that accidentally lock in the nameplate rating improperly, so let's say they get onto site, they disregard the envelope that's in there with the stickers, they just simply scan and commission it as an 11.4 because there is an 11.4 label on there. And then they say, oh, dang it, this was supposed to be a 9.6. They can call into our support center and we can unlock that inverter. So there is a fail-safe there if they do need support to unlock it for reasons that they accidentally installed it improperly. All right, so I'm going to put in the chat right now a landing page that will give you everything you need to know on single SKU. And this will help you to also direct this over to your customers if anybody is looking for additional support there. All right, any other questions on single SKU before we talk about commercial? I do also want to reiterate on the single SKU side is one of the reasons why we transitioned over to single SKU was essentially also because this is going to help our customers transition over to Nexis because Nexis is also single SKU. So this is kind of the stepping stone to our new entire process on all of our units now and in the future. All right, let's talk about CNI. So again, we are number one on the commercial side, and really there's a lot of reasons why, but one of the primary reasons is our ability to maximize output on the roof, our ability to monitor all of the sites and have free monitoring for our customers with our optimizers, panel level monitoring, and also our safety and enhanced cybersecurity mechanisms. So we are very well known on the SolarEdge side for our safety components. So Kyle, do they have Wi-Fi antennas? So yes, these inverters have Wi-Fi antennas. That's for single SKU. Thank you. Okay, perfect. All right, so we have all of our optimizers on the sites. These are now one-to-one optimizers. So our domestic content optimizer has switched this over to a one-to-one ratio, which is our U651s. And our inverters, I think this team knows pretty well on the commercial side. We have the Synergy technology as well as our three-phase single unit for smaller systems. Additionally, we have TerraMax, which is a utility scale inverter that I'd highly recommend looking into if any of your customers are looking for utility scale. So again, SolarEdge is really standing out to maximize energy yield because we have module level power point tracking. We actually reduce balance of system costs by 50% or over in most cases. And so the real push for a lot of these large systems and a lot of units like Amazon, 50% of the Fortune 100 companies has SolarEdge on their roofs, is really this reduced balance of system costs to maximize value, as well as less labor and less cost on that side. That safety and cybersecurity, really important to us. We make sure we have those safety mechanisms in place. Lower O&M, because we have the ability to monitor at a panel level. It allows us to remotely troubleshoot, which is very helpful in these large sites. And then we're now manufactured in the US as well. So if there is value in that for your customers, you can let them know that consistently we're actually manufacturing all of our inverters on the commercial side, as well as our optimizers in Tampa. The real big thing I wanted to push today is to ensure that this team knows that this is also now single SKU. We have tried to get to single SKU on the commercial side as well. And I think that this is going to be the most helpful piece. So you have that configurable power class situation on this side. This is one SKU for the single three-phase unit that will allow you to configure to all of these nameplate ratings: 10, 17.3, 30, and 40 kW. So this will allow you to get there. On the Synergy unit side, we have the ability, and this again is single SKU, to change the nameplate rating to 50, 100, 110, or 120. So now maybe this is not single SKU, right? This is more like a couple of SKUs, but much better than having 8 to 10 SKUs for the same situation. So wanted to make sure that this team knew now that this is much reduced SKU count on the commercial side as well. Dan, I'm going to pause there. You're so great at the commercial side, especially in Canada. Anything you want to point out on the commercial piece that speaks to you in this market?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head in terms of the most important thing, which is understanding that, again, our products here are not changing certifications. It's the same product you've come to know, love, and deploy for your commercial applications. We're just making it easier for procurement, for inventory management, for O&M by reducing the SKU counts. But again, it's the same certifications. There's no actual change in product here.
Yeah, and we really hope that this helps even especially distributors, because we understand that juggling multiple SKUs on our side for so many years has been a challenge. So would love your feedback on if this is helping out your team as well. Wanted to point out the optimizer. So the U650 allows up to a 715 watt module. Remember, this is a 1-to-1 optimizer now, not a 2-to-1. And this is our primary optimizer that's used on the commercial side for the Synergy units and the three-phase. Wanted to make sure this team also knew about Advantage. So we have a great protection program for our commercial customers. They can actually enroll their site in Advantage, which gives them some assurances on the side of production loss if there's any power optimizers that go down. So we know, right, that on a large scale project, let's talk about, this one in this image right here. A customer is not going to go to that site and replace an optimizer if there's, 5 optimizers down, something like that. Advantage allows them to get compensated for downed optimizers until they go out to site to make those replacements. So we actually have an indicator on our monitoring portal that will put a little A on any optimizers that are covered by the Advantage program. And that allows our program on the back end to compensate those customers that have enrolled that particular site into Advantage. So we also cover labor compensation as a part of that optimizer replacement. And Advantage is really that kind of assurance and that protection. So if you do have any customers that are saying something like, well, I don't want to do optimizers on my site, especially ground mounts or things like that. I don't really want to do any optimizers because if any of them go down, it's more replacement, more repair, costly on that side. This will actually help them to cover that. And in fact, will even add to the value of module level tracking. So they're not having to, go in blind on a string inverter situation where they don't really know which panels are down at a given time. So just let your customers know that Advantage is available. They just enroll per site. If you go onto our website, or look up SolarEdge Advantage, they will be able to get that information there too. Kyle, great question. Advantage is only for commercial sites. That is correct. So this is not for residential sites currently. All right, please keep your questions coming as well. I obviously had a lot of coffee this morning, therefore went very fast, but I wanted to give this team a Nexis sneak peek also. Has anybody seen Nexis or hadn't seen any presentations on Nexis or anything so far? Would love to hear what your thoughts are, what you've seen. We also, with Charge Solar specifically, we're planning a separate webinar all about Nexis as it gets a bit closer. So we will do that as this gets closer. This is not going to be launched until Q3. So we just wanted to give a bit of a sneak peek today. But really what this product does is it allows for full modularity for a residential site. If you notice, this inverter is also a very sleek and streamlined inverter, but the name of the game here is modularity, flexibility with minimal space required. So this unit actually takes up the least amount of space of any of our competitors for a battery system. It can be a PV standalone inverter if that homeowner just wants solar. When we transition over to Nexis in Q3, you can expect that our SolarEdge inverter is going to look like this. So it's a much sleeker design, takes up minimal space. You can add up to 4 battery blocks per stack. It can be ground mounted, floor mounted, or attached to the wall, so wall mounted. And then this link is actually the communications device kind of between the inverter and the battery block. So each stack that you have, so if there's 4 battery blocks here, each stack that you have needs a link, but you can actually, per inverter, have 4 stacks of batteries, which would be 16 battery blocks and up to 78.4 kilowatt hours. So very large capability with this unit, even on just one inverter. But also, alternatively, let's say that homeowner only needs, a 10 kilowatt hour system, then that's just 2 battery blocks, an inverter, and a link. Mounted on the wall, takes up minimal space, and they have the ability to expand that later on if they want. We are going to have a meter collar as a part of this whole solution, and that is going to be created by Connector. It's called the Nexis Islander, and that's going to be how we do backup capabilities with this solution. So we will no longer have a backup interface. What you're seeing here is really the components that are involved with this. Something that I love the most about Nexis is that this is a wire-free installation. So all of the wires are actually within the components. And if you haven't seen this in in person yet, you literally just stack and click. We call it simple click architecture. You stack these blocks and they click into place and synchronize based on an electrical plate that's on the battery itself. Your installers will have to do no wiring when it comes to the actual stacking of this inverter solution and battery. So very cool. Are you going to have a box as well, meter collars? So we do have a solution. We call it a meter in a can. There are some, in the US, quite a few states that still don't allow meter collars as well. So we do have that solution. The batteries, yeah. So I agree that these batteries will have to be a lower price point to be competitive, and that is definitely being taken into consideration at this launch. That is the primary goal. All right. Any other questions? I mean, truly, that was what I wanted to go over today. I gave this team all of the biggest changes that have happened and all of the most exciting stuff that we have on our side. Would love to answer questions if anybody has anything else they want to talk through. Are the batteries outdoor rated? Absolutely. In fact, so it's -4 degrees to 122 degrees. What is that in Celsius? Dan, help me out. He'll be coming out. Americans are horrible at Celsius, but this is absolutely outdoor rated. The majority of our installers are going to be outside. This is also rated for direct sunlight installation, which of course is not recommended, but it is rated for that.
Hey, Michelle, just to Canadianize the math here, the ambient outdoor temperature will go down to, this is the operating temperature, down to -20 C.
Great, thank you. Each of the Nexis inverters have a 14 kW power output. And each of the battery blocks has a 3.5 kW power. And that's each block, which is a 4.9 kilowatt hour capacity.
So let me just jump in there real quick, because this can cause a bit of confusion in terms of power ratings. The preliminary specs for the Nexis inverter has a nameplate rating for when you're connected on grid, which is most of the familiar power classes you guys know, 3.8, roughly 5.7, 7.6, 9.6, 10, 11.5, and 13 kW, so a higher nameplate on grid power rating available with Nexis. And then to Michelle's point, in backup, so off grid, up to 14.5 kW.
So I see another one here about generator support. So currently, it will at GA will not have generator support. Would love to hear from the group if that is something that you think is essential. What we're seeing in the market generally is even if we do have generator support, people have asked for it but then not used it. So would love to hear if you're hearing otherwise.
And I'll just double down on that, Michelle. So for those that are out there actively deploying grid interactive PV and storage projects, we would like to know how many of those are you connecting to a generator-based system, whether it's a whole home backup generator serving the whole home, or you're connecting to our transfer switch using the generator input lugs. Like Michelle said, we don't see mass adoption, but if there are business case for this, we would obviously look deeper into the feature.
Yeah, and so the Nexis has a very similar process in dark start as our current solution does, where that battery will reserve enough juice to actually start up the solar system as soon as the sun comes back up, to start powering the solar system to produce energy to then recharge the battery to safe levels and then power the home if there is extended outages in that area. So dark start capabilities has always been something that SolarEdge can do without a generator. Additionally, I do want to mention that the Nexis, that something that is different is it is DC coupled, DC optimized, like we always want, but it also has the potential for AC coupled. So it is DC or AC coupled capable. I got a question here about will Nexis have a new app? Would this be a new app for a homeowner or a new app for an installer? I'll answer both. The installer, so SolarEdge Go is going to be our commissioning app for Nexis. So that's the newer one we just came out with for single SKU. For the homeowner, it's still going to be My SolarEdge. It's going to have a bit of an upgraded look, but it's going to be the My SolarEdge app. We are trying to get more homeowners to use My SolarEdge. I will not so fun fact in North America, only about 50% of our homeowners use My SolarEdge. And with the new PPA, TPO environment and a lot of our locations, My SolarEdge is a little bit less used because some of those TPOs require them to use their apps. Very long answer to the question, which is there going to be a different app? It's going to be My SolarEdge for homeowners still.
Michelle, I'm hoping you can verify. I know you mentioned with the Nexis that the inverter can be used as a standalone. Does that mean that the existing single SKU will go away with the launch of Nexis?
I mean, that's a good question. It's not going to be going away fully. We're going to have that single SKU for a long time coming, I'm sure. But will we eventually probably transition over to Nexis being the primary solution? Yes. Just kind of how we transitioned over to Home Hub from HD Wave. We don't have HD Wave anymore. It's probably going to be a transition somewhat similar, but it's not going to be an abrupt stop on single SKU. All right, I'll give it a couple more minutes for questions. Anything else we're seeing? Yeah, so the anticipated launch of Nexis, we're actually going GA with it in Q3. It's targeted right now for late July. Pricing will happen well before that. They're working on the pricing right now, so hopefully that will be something that we see in the next couple of months. Yeah, the launch should be the same for Canada and the US based on GA. So we do have some very small batch of product that is going to be coming in a little bit earlier than that. That's going to be targeted, but GA will be in late July. Okay, great questions. Thank you for everybody's attention as well. Tatum, I'm going to turn it back over to you unless you have anything else.
No, that's great. Oh, it looks like, did we get one more question into the Q&A there? Let's see. Oh, no, just
so.
thinking.
Somebody saying
Just
thanks.
thinking. Yeah, thank you, Michelle and Dan, for joining us today and for answering all these questions. Thank you for everyone else who joined us today as well. And I'm excited to see the next webinar on Nexus. Thanks
Thank
so
you,
much.
everyone.